Hi, it's Amanda. Welcome to my channel. This is a completely impromptu video. Christina, my sister, actually gave me the idea for this. I was kind of, not freaking out, but I was very stressed about the fact that I am not going to be able to wash my hair on schedule this week. This is the first time that has happened. That puts next Tuesday's video at risk, and also I'm not ready with my Saturday video. I'm sick. So yes, I've contracted a virus. I know how. I'm not going to get into it now. It wasn't really my fault, but it is what it is. I'm sick, and Aiden is sick, so I am working through that right now. I don't know how this is the first time this has happened, but it is. I've recently put out a couple of videos that make this very relevant. I put out my first pregnancy update where I talked about how exhausted I was. In my last video where I was talking about just like my natural hair struggles, I talked about how exhaustion made my last wash day so difficult to get through. Well, it is Thursday, my actual wash day, and I just don't have it in me. I've been stuffy, I have a sore throat, I have a headache that comes and goes, and I just can't do it. And also Aiden is homesick from school, so it's a lot. So yeah, I'm not washing my hair today. I don't think I'm gonna have time to wash it tomorrow. So instead of my chocolate kinks and curls ingredients review going up on Saturday, I haven't had a chance to prepare it. I am going to do it next week, and I'm also going to do my review next week, but it's not going to be coming out Tuesday. I'm hoping I can do my ingredients review on Monday because I'm hoping I'll feel better by then. And then on Wednesday or Thursday next week, I will do my chocolate kinks and curls first review. So I jumped on camera to pretty much just talk about this. This is what I've been talking about. What do you do when you are in a situation where you don't have it in you, whether it's energy, whether it's illness, whether it's something has come up in your life and you don't have time to take care of your hair? That's what's going on right now. And you have to work around it. In the end, my health is obviously supposed to come first. So I'm not going to do whatever I have to do to get through my wash day. I'm just not going to do it right now. I'm sitting on my bed, which is ironic because I don't actually sleep on my bed. I sleep in Aiden's room now, which is a whole other thing. But since this video doesn't really have me focused, I'll just get into that. Okay, so Aiden was either 2 or 3 when I got pregnant with Layla. As I mentioned a few times, that was an awful pregnancy. I had morning sickness and constant exhaustion from maybe 6 weeks pregnant until Layla was born at 30. I had exhaustion plus morning sickness from probably 6 weeks pregnant until Layla was born at 37 weeks. At that time, I pretty much had no energy for anything. I was still going to work probably 4 days a week because I always work from home at least one day. And I had a 2.5-hour commute. I was taking Aiden to and from daycare every day. I was cooking dinner every night. When I think back on it, I have no idea how I was doing all that, but we get through things. While I was Superwoman during the day, Superwoman lost her steam in the evenings. So that meant that Nick was on dinner cleanup, getting Aiden ready for bed, getting me ready for bed, getting me into bed, getting Aiden into bed. And it just happened that Aiden started sleeping in our room. It was a lot for Nick to handle also. He gets up at 4:30 to 5 pretty much for work every day. He does a lot. He works like probably 15 hours a day. And then as soon as he's done, he helps out with the kids. So it was a lot for him too. So him stepping up was amazing. But at the same time, it was very difficult to keep Aiden in his room and me in my room. And then Aiden ended up sleeping in our bedroom for like 8.5 months. You can imagine by the time Layla was born, Aiden was set in his way. So we never really tried that hard to get him out of our bed. I had Layla in like a sleep basket next to us, and we all just slept in here. But we did recognize that at some point Aiden needed to get into his own room. Recognizing that Layla is now 2, I just got Aiden into his own bedroom like 3 weeks ago. That's the room that I did my pregnancy update in. I got him new furniture. I put decals all over the wall, and now it's like a really nice kid's bedroom because he hadn't had that before. He had been sleeping in a guest room that the house happened to have. It happened to have furniture, and we never really did anything. We got him some fun, little boy sheets, but that was pretty much it. So Nick had been sleeping in there with him for, I want to say at least, it was probably about a year. And I was sleeping with Layla up here. It was a bad situation. So yeah, we finally made that into a bedroom. Nick moved back up here. Layla was still sleeping here in the middle of the night. Even if Aiden would start out in that bedroom, he would still wander up here 3, 4, 5 in the morning. To get him to now stay in his new room, which he absolutely loves, I'm sleeping there with him. Nick sleeps in our room, and when Layla wakes up around 2, 3, 4 in the morning, he goes and gets her and brings her into this room. That is where we are right now. So I have been sleeping in Aiden's room for the last 3 weeks. I think that's how long he's had the bed. It's all up in the air. If you have kids, you might understand that this kind of thing happens. And co-sleeping, which I understand is like an actual is perfectly fine. You could have your child sleep in your room up until, I never looked into it. But it's not unhealthy for Aiden to be sleeping in our bedroom. It's just that this is not necessarily what we want. At some point, we can't have 3 kids, 2 adults, and 1 70-pound dog sleeping in our bed every night. It's just not going to work out. That was a little bit off topic, but again, there's not real any direction for this video. I'm pretty much just telling you that I am not going to be releasing my video this week. And it just really enforced what I was saying about like keeping up with your hair while also keeping up with life and, you know, illness and things like that. Now on top of being generally exhausted from pregnancy, I have a virus. I was not expecting that because we completely protect ourselves, we mask and all that. I know how I got sick. It was completely out of my control. It wasn't my fault. I wish it hadn't happened, but it is what it is, so we're dealing with the situation that we're in. Luckily, somehow Layla hasn't gotten sick. That's great. Nick is somehow fine. But while I'm here, I will give you my second pregnancy update. I did have my nuchal translucency scan, which something about measuring the fold in the neck on the ultrasound to see whether or not your child is likely to have Down syndrome. Something like that. It's not. Everything looked fine on the scan. I was also glad to see that the baby is still alive, still kicking, and I am, at the time of this recording, 13 weeks and 4 days. So I am in my second trimester. During my first trimester update, I had mentioned that I didn't have much of an appetite and I was exhausted all day. I still don't have much of an appetite. My energy has somewhat come back. I had been working out probably 5 days a week. Nothing intense because I still don't have that kind of energy, but there was definitely a marked difference between like when I was 11 weeks pregnant and when I was 12, 13 weeks pregnant. I had so much more energy. It didn't last into the night, but it went from being exhausted for the entire day to just being very tired for most of it, and it was more sustainable. I've been in that state for like a week and now this happened, so that sucks. So I'm exhausted again. I am now at a point where I feel comfortable trying to come up with names for the baby. Nick hates everything that's on my list. Why don't I just tell you, because I have a list on my phone. The 2 that Aiden is fine with are Jasper and Jamie. Nick doesn't like the name Jasper, so I can't go with that. And he's thinking about Jamie, so he'll see if he'll come around. Anyway, the names on my list are Jasper, Jace, Jamie, Liam, Dustin, Silas, Cole, Caleb, Grayson, and Adam. I don't completely like the name Grayson anymore, and Aiden has a classmate named Grayson, so he told me we can't choose that name. So whatever, fine, I'll toss that out. I also do have this new restriction that I came up with myself. We've got Aiden and we've got Layla, so I feel like I gotta continue that trend and have an AI somewhere in this child's name, which is why Jamie kind of works, you know? It just so happened that I like the name Jamie and it fit in with the other 2 because I don't want the child to feel like an outcast just because it has a different like name situation. One other thing I want to mention. I've been talking about this whole like strict vegan healthy eating thing for probably about a year now. And as much as I would love to say I'm still 100% vegan, that has changed in the last 1.5 weeks. I broke down. There was one day where I had no appetite, but I felt like I needed food. I guess you could argue it was a pregnancy craving, but I don't really believe that it was. I feel like people just generally get cravings, and I never had a pregnancy craving. But Nick was having a piece of halloumi. If you're not familiar, halloumi is an amazing, salty, grillable cheese made from sheep's milk. It's Greek, Cypriot, comes from that part of the world, and it is my favorite cheese and arguably one of my favorite foods. I haven't had it since I went vegan, and it's difficult every single time I see Nick eating it. Well, that day, he took out a piece of halloumi to have with a sandwich, and then I proceeded to eat 3/4 of a block of halloumi. I hadn't had anything non-vegan in a year and probably 2 or 3 months, and that broke it. I then proceeded to put on my calendar a halloumi day every 3 months, but then the next day I had some Parmesan cheese. Hadn't done that again also in about a year and 3 months, so I have now had halloumi and Parmesan, and I have since taken down that 3-month interval, and now I am vegan, except I eat Parmesan cheese and I eat halloumi. This isn't like a daily thing, but like now my point is I'm not restricting Parmesan cheese and halloumi. This is not going to be a slippery slope. I don't plan on incorporating anything else. I don't want meat. I'm not craving meat. I don't see myself coming off of it. My iron is fine, which is the only reason that people sometimes suggest that you bring meat back into your diet, but I don't need to do that. So I am not going to. I'm keeping it at halloumi and parmesan, and I will very rarely eat them. I know that I have decided to keep up this vegan diet because I don't mind it, it's fine, and it got rid of my ulcerative colitis. So I will have another scan in probably another year or so, having brought halloumi and parmesan cheese only rarely back into my diet, and see if that makes a difference. I suspect it's not going to, because it's such a small amount of each that I'm gonna have. It's just that, you know, with life the way that it is right now, there's just like so few pleasures in life. I love Parmesan cheese and I love halloumi, and I don't see enough of a justification to completely restrict myself. So the night that I had the halloumi, I told Nick, tell no one. This is a secret, only you are allowed to know this. But now I'm telling you because I felt like this was guilty. I can't keep coming on here talking about like my vegan pregnancy. Not that I was gonna keep talking about it, but anyway, I've mentioned it, and not tell all of you that I have broken the rules. And I will continue to break the rules because they're my rules, I guess. And yeah, I am disappointed that I've done this, but I have done it, I'm in it, and the cheese makes me happier. So, you know. One other thing about my pregnancy update, sorry, this is not in order because again, this is not really planned. I just wanted to get a video out for Saturday to explain why my Saturday video is not the one that you might be expecting, and why my Chocolate Kinks and Curls review will be delayed. One of the funny things about my last exam, kind of funny, kind of sad, it depends on what kind of humor you have. So I'm 34. I will be 35 February 8th. The baby is due March 29th. At the age of 35, you become an AMA. There's no quotes, it's actually called an AMA. It's called Advanced Maternity Age. I have long been aware of that, and I understand that there are more blood tests and things that you have to worry about, and you're technically like high risk. I will put that one in quotes, high risk for your age. My having known that for a long time, I always said that I was going to have my third child before I turned 35. I thought that having the child a month into 35, that I would be saved from anything. But it was just like during my last visit, everything was like, oh, it's because you're old. This is because you're old. This is why you can get this test. Oh, don't worry about it, but we're going to have to do this extra thing because you're older now, and like blah, blah, blah. Everything was just like acting like I'm like in my 60s, but whatever. But one thing that I was recommended to start doing is to take baby aspirin because I'm old and I am at risk. I put that in quotes too, because I also don't think that I'm at risk for preeclampsia. The reason is because I will be 35 when the baby is born, and also because my sister had preeclampsia during her pregnancy. It's a completely different situation. We have completely different diets, completely different body types, and her health wasn't like 100%. And she had a lot of risk factors for preeclampsia. I have none of them except for the fact that I am now ancient. It's hard enough for me to be taking 3 pills a day. I take iron twice a day. I take my prenatal, and I take a vitamin D. I don't want to take another one. I know it's not a big deal. And of course, if I end up getting preeclampsia, it's gonna be, you know what? Now that I say this out loud, if I was to have a problem, it would be 100% my fault because I have opted to not listen to the doctor. My dad, who's an OBGYN, hasn't practiced obstetrics in the last probably 15 years at this point, but I mean, he worked at Columbia in obstetrics and gynecology for 30 years of his career, and I trust his opinion on that. He doesn't seem to think that I need to, I guess because he knows me. He knows that Jasmine was at risk. He doesn't really see me at risk. I'm healthy at 34, and, you know, but whatever. But it's not going to hurt anyone. He said if I want to take it, that it's not going to hurt me. So fine. I will go get some baby aspirin, and I'm glad that I said this out loud because now I am making the most responsible decision. Because if I was to not do that and something happened to me and or the baby, I couldn't forgive that for just being lazy. So sorry to the baby for starting to eat Parmesan cheese and halloumi, but I will make it up to you by taking the baby aspirin at the doctor's recommendation. This is a short one. I don't really have much to say. I came to you here just completely raw. I'm not wearing an ounce of makeup. My hair is, I don't even know what my hair looks like right now. I put it up 2 days ago. I didn't even have the energy to put it into like a crown braid, so it's in 2 silk scrunchies and then a third silk scrunchie, just joining everything in the middle. I tossed this hat on or one of my turbans during the day, and at night I swap this out for a sleep cap, but that's pretty much it. That's how I have been doing things. Hopefully I will be feeling better next week. I am looking forward to trying out Chocolate Kinks and Curls. Sorry, my eyes are like crossing. I'm looking forward to trying out Chocolate Kinks and Curls. One thing I wanted to mention also, I keep talking about how I ran out of Prepoo, which is true, but I forgot that I have Ambunu leaves, so I'm going to be using that as my Prepoo next week. I didn't do that during my Shea USA review. I don't remember, oh, because I had my other Prepoos that I really liked. But now, since I don't really have Prepoos, I'm going to use those. And then when I finish my leaves, I'm actually just going to go back to using a raw aloe plant. I actually don't necessarily feel that Prepoos are as important a step in my routine as everything else. And because I am having trouble with my wash days and my schedule at this point, I'm trying to cut corners wherever I can. That being said, I am aware that I am coming back from my growth plateau or my breakage situation that had my hair at the same length over a 3-month period. So I'm not going to be making any steps that I feel is going to put my hair in jeopardy. But I honestly don't think this Prepoo thing is a big deal, so I am going to be doing that. So that's pretty much it. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. I hope you like this raw little, I don't know what you call it, it's not a story time, it's just video. And I hope to come back to you with something a little bit more structured and official next time. Again, I'm hoping to record my ingredients review on Monday next week and release it maybe on Tuesday, and then maybe my wash day will come out on Thursday. We'll see. Have a good day, stay safe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.